Alrighty, welcome to the Circle of Grace 1 with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. This is part 2 of 2. I did one maybe last week, maybe last Thursday, so figured I'd come on tonight. I had just completed a private online class with one of my students, longtime students and spiritual daughters from New York City. I'm out here broadcasting from the land of enchantment, as they call it, for the state of New Mexico. I'm out here in the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of the things I want to say, I usually, as I say, come on randomly. So I don't really have a set pattern. I think some of that happens to do with the fact that I don't like to have myself locked into a particular podcasting schedule, live or pre-recorded. So many of you, I think I have over 360 plus subscribers. So at some point, if you are awake anywhere in the United States, you will pop on. And here he is, King Lemuel Productions. Thank you. And I noticed that in the chat, someone put something up with the term Satan in it. I guess they wanted to try to invade my space. And when I went and checked out that person's channel, they only had one subscriber. So usually people try to come in and advertise. So, and they hide out. So usually after my live stream is over, I will go in and check the chat list to see if there are any hidden visitors trolling. And I will YouTube has it so you can't block them anymore, but you can delete their messages directly, and then you can report them if you want. I don't have time to report people. I'll just block their messages, and then it erases them. So, for other people who don't know anything about me, who like to come in and do that, my channel here is not a free billboard for advertising your stuff. Now, if you're one of my subscribers, I don't mind. You could, if you have something going on that's spiritual and metaphysical and you want to place it on, ask me first, can you do that? And then, yeah, put it in. You could be teaching a course or something somewhere in your city in the United States, or if you're one of my fewer students from the UK, you might be teaching something out in the UK that's very positive in terms of the metaphysical and spiritual and holistic worlds. So that's okay. I don't mind that. It's all educational. One of the things I'm going to talk about is affirmations, the power of affirmations, and how they can work. Also, we'll talk briefly about decrees, how they work, and they are very powerful keys in terms of changing how we think and our internal environment as well as our external environment. I will also use a little bit of numerology tonight. Who knows? I might read something straight from my book, The Key to Life is Numerology. So, might mention something out of this book. Took about 10, 20 years to get it into gear. Definitely taken from my seventh book here, Radiant Heart, the 7 amazing pathways to connect, activate, and communicate with your higher self. Also, my book, Decree and It Shall Be. All these books you can find on Amazon. The only 2 books I'm not going to bring out on here. Hey, Rose, how you doing? Is The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am. I might take off my headset and go get the book anyway. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Wait right here. I guess I might as well bring them all out. So I realized one of the reasons for taking down my website, I'm getting a little tired of long-term maintenance, going into it all the time, correcting things. So that's the other reason why coming on live on my YouTube channel, like I used to do back in 2006, 2007, 2008. I did it a lot in 2009. So always, broadcasting long before I had websites. And some, and since I can't do a live on Instagram unless I have 1,000 followers, and I'm short of 127, I think. I got over 800 or so. So I'm going to come on and teach live from my book. So here's The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, channeled, and the second channeled book, The Gift, The Wisdom of Nefertiti as I Am. So I'm going to bring out these teachings as time goes on, set them over there. And also, everybody's been working with selenite. Very few people have a book on selenite. And this is my own experience working with selenite. This is the age of remembrance, the divine I am presence in selenite. And this book was copyrighted in 2020. So selenite is a very, I think I'll start there. Selenite is a very important healing gemstone. We have so many, perhaps millions of gemstones, quartz stones that are very helpful. But we have to learn how to respect them, the energy that they give off. I'm so happy that I live in a state where I didn't know before, but I found out through another writer who was one of the first Americans, females, to be allowed to go into the Nika Mountains down in Mexico and see the huge pieces of selenite in the earth. And then her name, which escapes me right now, but this person wrote a book about her experiences. In fact, has written two books. Her name is Leela, Leea Hutchinson, Hutchinson. And Leela mentioned how she discovered, because she was from California, she mentioned how she discovered there's an actual selenite vein that runs from the Nika Mountains, north of the Nika Mountains, into New Mexico, right through the center. And it actually passes through the center of Albuquerque, New Mexico, up a little bit around by Santa Fe, and then heads north into Colorado. So I would say that is my main reason, one of my main reasons, beyond what my mother said, that I was supposed to live here. And I've been working with the gem selenite since 1988 when I first started receiving dreams about it. So we're going to talk about selenite. I know I always talk about it in a general sense, but I want to go a little bit more detail so that all of you that have selenite in your residence or you're wearing selenite can create a better connection between you and it. And once you become more sensitive to the use of selenite, what you will find is that you become sensitive to the rest of the gemstone kingdom. Now, people do a lot of rock hunting. Have I ever been able to do it? No. And one of the reasons is I have this deep, deep inner respect for the earth. And so I don't think that all of us should be digging into the earth. That's like performing someone invading your physical body because they want to take out your precious heart. And the only people I know a lot of people who do it, and the majority of those people that rock hunt like that, they do have their heart in the right place. So I know that they're good people. But now there's some other people that I've seen around here within Albuquerque who like to go rock hunting, and they're doing it for business purposes. They're not doing it to help heal the schisms that humanity has left upon the earth. They're not trying to energize tree energy, fossil energy. They're not trying to give that gem its place in the world for the ancient ones who walked the earth before us. So there's a difference. There's some people mine gems to sell them. You can't keep selling them all the time, especially if you didn't pay, let's say, $1,300 for the same gem that you're selling for 1,300. You never paid 1,300. You may have spent 5, 10 hours mining a gem and a couple of gas tanks of gas for your vehicle and a couple of tools. But then to sell those gems birthed from the earth for something like $1,300 is really, really uh, raping the planet. I'll put it that way, prostituting the earth. So now, for many of you that work with selenite comes in different forms. People use selenite in organite gems. This is an organite stone gem, and a young teenager gave this to me when he was a teenager. He's probably about 25 now, from out here, but he put shards of selenite in this one with coils of copper and a few other pieces like iron chips in here. But what this does is it protects me from the EMF radiation coming off of my laptop. So I keep it here. Also keep a piece of amethyst, and behind my laptop head, I keep a piece of shungite. And then I also have a piece of selenite, a finger rod, up here on my laptop. So, there's different ways to protect yourself from the frequencies, and it's essential. Yeah, we have to begin to do what our ancestors did, continue to work with the gemstones. And I can greatly say I appreciate many people who know how to wrap them securely in copper, making very beautiful all CNI staffs and the hand of Fatimas with the gems in them. They're doing great work, you know. I commend people that do that. At one point in my 30s, I wasn't selling it, but I was making them as gifts. I was working with pine branches, and the pine branches, I would skin the bark off, take the fiber, which is like the fascia, off, and then I would soak them in turpentine. And the reason why I did that, brushed them down and soak them in turpentine and leave them outside on newspapers because the red mites were living inside. So if you didn't get the red mites out, you'd wind up having them all over your home. So it kind of killed them. And then after I got enough of them out of the wood, then I would dress it down a little bit more with some extra turpentine and set it outside. Then I would begin to work with sanding it down, making it smooth, the wood, and I would look for indentations in the wood, like especially on the top, where I could put not necessarily a perfectly round quartz crystal on top, but I could place a quartz or amethyst that was either round or cylindrical or like in a pyramid shape on the top. So I would could glue it in. And then also I could put whatever designs I wanted, engrave them because I had a wood engraver, which also had a metal tip and diamond tip for engraving metal. And I would write prayers on it, on my sticks. Uh, these are my staffs, I had prayers on them. I could also create greater indentation where I could put pieces of copper onto the pine, and then also various gemstones. And then wherever my hand would land, I could securely glue in place a leather stripping. So I had, different ways of energizing and working with the pine branches with crystals and copper and other gemstones. These are things that we all can make again. You could also have wooden canes and do the work on wooden canes. Now, you don't have to walk out in the street like a Moses, but what you can utilize is once you create these canes and staffs and rods with gems and metals, wirings, and sacred words, you can leave them strategically in different parts of your home, which then they act as a current or transducers, I think is the word, to shift the energy inside your home. So these are some of the things that you can do. And sometimes it's best to draw it out on a piece of paper so you know exactly what design you want to use, how you want to use the rods, wands, and staffs. So you should know a wand is roughly 12 to 18 inches long, or 16 if you want, and rods are somewhere between 18 and 36 inches. And then the staffs are anywhere roughly can go up to your mouth, can go up where the crystal is facing your mouth or your throat chakra, or it is facing the brow center. But better than yet, have it a little taller than yourself or taller than yourself. So let's say if you're 6 foot, 6 foot two man or woman, you could use one of these that could be 8 feet or 7 feet, and then put them in a corner or in an area that you deem the best to energize. There's so many things that are beginning to come back into our minds that our ancestors have used. So you can create a crystal garden if you want. Now you have to keep mindset. You might live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of wandering dogs and cats, so you don't want to make it so it's enticing. But you can lay them so that they're not picked up by other animals. You can lay pepper scents around them, bags, so when they go, it's disturbing their senses and they're not touching anything. You can lay your gemstones around a swimming pool if you have an inlaid swimming pool in your backyard or a pool that's standing up. You can secure sacred bags with sage or sage and gemstones, and it sets up a frequency that is a very high frequency. So that's what you can do with pools. You do the same thing if you had barbecue pits. Keep them clean and put these things around them to energize the pit to give it more life. Or if your home and you have a fireplace with a mantle, you can lay your crystals across the top and your rods up there. You can also, where you have your uh, logs or self igniting logs, you can put your gemstones there. The whole idea is wherever you have an opening, fireplace, window, doors, you must secure them and ground the energy around them with herbal energies or etheric energies or your prayers or sound like bells and chimes or you could put various or variety of crystals at the with the what they call the door jamb or the threshold of the door. You can put them on either side to act as pillars. So these are things that you can do because you need to grid your home now. Gridding your home will keep a lot of negativity away from your home and away from your property. And when you place these things there, I would suggest that you don't explain everything to other people. You could have family members who don't understand what you're doing and will talk against what you're doing. So you don't explain that to them. You could have neighbors like that. You could have other people who just insist on creative a negative scenario about you. So you don't need to explain what you're doing. Sometimes it's best to have altars in your home hidden from general view. What some people have been smart enough to do is let their entire home become their altar. So that means they would only put a few gems in various rooms in their home, including the bathroom, but the whole environment is an altar. So people coming and going in your kitchen, in your dining room, in your living room, bedrooms, you name it, they're engulfed by the frequencies of these gemstones. And it's creating peace and harmony and happiness throughout the house and for your guests and people that you get along with. And so these things you want to be aware of. It's not just walking through your house and saging your house. You want to create a frequency that uplifts the vibration in your home. So, getting back to selenite energizes, raises the frequency of all other gemstones. That's the power of selenite. Selenite is the master healer. So, you can always have a polished piece because if you use a rough piece, the shards kind of travel. So, if you use a polished piece, you could put it on your bed or between mattresses on the bed, which is a great way to create a set frequency. So when you're sleeping on your bed, you can feel all the energies going and coming. And it also keeps down quote unquote negative or imbalanced energy from overwhelm you. You don't want to be overwhelmed by crap from outside, so you got to be careful about what comes inside, what you allow to come within your residence where you live. Some things you want to be aware of too is that, a lot of people, when they're working with selenite, they ask me, how do you cleanse selenite when you buy it from a store or a gem shop or a gem and mineral show? There are many ways. The highest way is to invoke the presence of the divine light, which is divine grace. And divine grace carries a teal, a turquoise blue, a pink, rose pink color, gold, silver. That those vibrations, those colors are connected to selenite. So you want to plant that seed throughout your home. You could put the actual colors there. I'll mention them again: turquoise, as well as teal, amethyst, purple, rose pink, gold, and silver. And if you want to use a sixth one, you can use like the color black to securely anchor or ground the area that you're developing. People say, well, if you do journey work, what I mean by journey work is you're practicing out of body experiences. You need to call forth your ancestors, ancestral deities, and other guides of a positive nature to watch over your body physically, watch over your body, the emotional, the mental, and the ethereal body. So you need various beings. Now, some people say if you are so divinely connected or you feel that you're divinely connected, why do you need to pray for protection? My answer is simple. You can travel anywhere you want, but you get to travel by car, bike, moped, skateboard, car, train, plane. When you're getting on these various modes, you need them to get from point A to point B. It's the same when you're invoking white light so that you can travel comfortably from one point to the next. So these things you want to keep in mind. Now, I understand the higher frequency, but how many people are living from the higher frequency? Even the best of the best aren't always living from the highest frequency that they can produce. So we have to kickstart our energy fields with white light, blue light, gold light, pink light, you name it. Whichever light comes to you that you can work with, that's the light you should put into motion. And people who are sensitive to these lights might be able to put things forward. Oh, thank you, Mike Ray 8886. Thanks for joining me. So I'm just talking somewhat specifically and in general at the same time about information in my books. And I'm bringing out first about selenite. So, as I said last Thursday, selenite comes in different forms. One of my students from 3 years ago, she went to a gem and mineral show and she brought me back a piece of selenite. And I like this one because it makes this part, the white part, like an eyeball. And then the clear part is pretty much like the pupil of an eye, the iris. And if you can get your sight in there close enough, you can envision the pupil itself. Now, that light that you see here, that's the reflection. Yes, looks like an eye. This part right here is a reflection of my ring light that's on my right corner. Um, this is excellent. Now, I don't use this to do massage work. I treat it like a crystal ball. It's a very highly polished uh, piece of selenite. But this does remind me of the ability to see. And so you can work with selenite to develop your seership skills, such as scrying through the crystal ball. So you can work yourself to that level so that you can thoroughly begin to see. That's one of the good reasons about having all kinds of gemstones around. This is a amethyst, and in my bedroom on my altar, I have an ametrine, which is a combination of citrine and amethyst. So put this one up. This has beautiful inclusions in it. And usually, when you're out purchasing stones or you're mining the stones yourself, you'll be drawn to the various inclusions on the inside. When you have a gemstone that's clear or in the quartz family, or like selenite, if your mind's eye is strong enough, your pineal gland, if your ability to travel into the stone is strong, you'll be able to have some wonderful experiences. And by the way, you don't get stuck in the stone. You're traveling into the stone because in your mind's eye, you're expanding it using your breath and your visualization technique to make the stone as large as possible in the ethers around you. And then you could kind of get yourself into it, like walking into it and experiencing it from the inside out. So I'm going to read you some things from my book, The Age of Remembrance, The Divine I Am Presence of Selenite. And this sells on Amazon for $12 on Amazon. Very thin book. It's about 78 pages or 79 pages, but it's very concise and you get a lot of information. One of the things that's in this book, this is a message, part of this book was channeled. So here's a message from beloved Akhenaten, chapter 10, and he's speaking about um, the use of selenite in his own way. Beloved Akhenaten speaks, I am divine being named Akhenaten, and it is my sincere desire that you begin to remember your own divinity and divine blueprint so you may rise and continue to arise for the highest good of all and yourself. Yourself, indeed. What you do as an individual will always impact the collective in such a way the individual can begin to see that he or she lives under the aegis of universal laws embedded within all of us. So that's a part of our journey is to connect with the divine laws that are already inside of ourselves. The material presented between these leaves of this booklet, meaning this book, is designed to help you return to the high frequency of light energy that flows through your body when using selenite in conjunction with selenium. So, selenium, spelled Selenium, is the trace mineral of selenite. And that's why you're drawn to seeking selenite out in the world because your body is craving for more of it to be around it. So that's the purpose why you're drawn to selenite because inside we all have the trace mineral selenium. You can find that in spinach. You can find it in bananas. I think you also find it in coconut. Um, People who like to eat seafoods, it's there as well. It makes the body more flexible, so you want to be aware of that. And I mentioned here that many foods carry it as a strong electromagnetic essence that assists you collectively and personally in your life. So selenite is very powerful. And Akhenaten states that Nefertiti always has taught, we will always help you evolve and ascend from within. But you must do your own research and be consistent in your personal work in order to successfully rise. Keep in mind that you are never in competition with anyone else. That's important. Many people think I got to compete with this guy across the world. A woman thinks I got to compete with this woman over here across the pond. but you don't have to. We all are in this together, and we all are developing a greater awareness for self realization. So she continues to say, keep in mind, again, that you are never in competition with anyone else, as no one is really higher or lower in rank when it comes to remembering and applying your understanding of the kind of quality and quantity of light each person holds in this lifetime. She continues to say, along with Akhenaten, yes, we used selenite in heavily crushed powder form and then mixed it with lime, alabaster, sand, and other crystals to help fortify our dwellings, our temples, and pyramids so that they harness the light of the sun and the great central sun, as well as other star systems. When it was used, it always dried with what we felt as the vibrational frequency of light. You know, in houses, people use something that's called sheet rock, right? Sheet rock has powdered selenite in it. So when people are putting the sheetrock in their houses, it's holding the frequency of the house. Well, it's actually doing more. It's holding the frequency of the workers who worked on your house as well. That's why when you go into a new house, you should air it out, sage it out, wipe it out clean. So it begins to have only holding your energy and no one else's. We use that to identify the light quotient of spiritual beings. And through its use, we learn that we communicate from a much higher level. Selenite causes you to remain open to higher levels of consciousness and to trust that you will achieve the goals set forth. Discernment is an important attribute to assist you in this manner. During the many years of training and application, we shared with you, and this is Akhenaten and Nefertiti, we shared with you the importance of not being afraid to work on your mental state. It was and still is important to rid yourself from thoughts of greed, hatred, moodiness, and miscreated egos. Remembrance is the key to understanding and activating your divine nature. So I wanted to read that excerpt from my book, The Age of Remembrance, The Divine I Am Presence in Selenite. You can get it on Amazon for $12. You might find it in other locations. Um, this book is unique because it's the photograph of a tabular selenite. And if you look at it, there's some faces in there. There's one right here, the nose. Actually, there's two. There's a face here. Right in here, you'll see the eyebrow and the eye and nose, lip and mouth. And if you look at it again, you'll see a whole nother face with a chin jutting out or nose. But then you'll see a black eyebrow, a light eyebrow, and two eyes looking straight at you. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. And then you see its nose and its mouth. And that's the guardian inside the tabular that I have. While I'm here, it comes to mind that, if you want to talk about numerology, we can. If you want to get some insight for yourself on a location using numerology, we can deal with addresses and things of that nature. That's including cross streets that are avenues, roads, boulevards that have street numbers. So that's good to note as well. So it is important that we gain and develop an understanding about ourselves. We'll do a little short meditation, guided meditation. One of my an original guided creative pathwork meditation that's going to lock all of this in together. So I want to read an excerpt from my book, The Key to Life is Numerology, Your Name and Date of Birth Through the Study of Numbers. And this will help us gain an understanding of the spiritual side of numbers. And I believe I have a section here that gives you a philosophic insight on numbers. I believe in the book 1 through 9 or 0 through 9. I think the hardest part of this book was doing the pinnacles and challenges and making sure I had everything kind of lined up. And if any of you have this book, there is a particular figure in history that I placed in this book so we had an understanding of his life. And while I'm looking for that section, do any of you have any questions? We'll see. I'm supposed to have a section in here that gave a little spiritual insight about the numbers 0 through 9 or 1 through 9. I think I have it in the beginning of the book. Yes, I have a section. The section I'm going to read is the affirmation for each number that was given to me. And this goes from page 28 all the way over to page 42 in my book. So this was under chapter 3, meaning of the root numbers 0 to 9. This section was meant to be more like a meditative section on numbers. So, to give you an idea, 0. 0 is symbolic of the universal womb, where all life comes from, and in this sense represents where all other numbers come through its being and returns. This 0 is the source called both Divine Mother and Divine Father. Divine Mother and Divine Father. It is also the divine expression of all and should be seen as divine potential. And this includes things seen and unseen. It is a number of great empowerment. This is 0, reminding us that we have this infinite power that dwells within us, and thus the numbers of infinity are within the 0 itself, which is limitless and boundless. So I want to read the affirmation of the 0. I am the beginning and the end of all that is everywhere. I, as the 0, am nothing, and yet I am you as well. I am the womb, the true matrix, and an integral part of your well being. You are birthed through me, the alma mater. I am that I am. So we see here that the 0 is the foundation, the mother, the matrix of everything. So here's the number one, a tidbit. The one quality represents a natural forthrightness and direction with an analytical mind. Now, these numbers, when we get from 1 to 9, it's not just your birthday number, your first name, could be your middle name, could be your whole name, could be what the vowels add to or the consonants add to. And you can still have meaning embedded with the number one. This one also represents an original and creative thinker and can represent the best or the best of both worlds. The energy, for the most part, is fiery by nature and a feeling being aware and independent of others. So I'm going to read down a little further. The number one, it has its own personality and thus carries within it the expression of self sufficiency. This number symbolizes the unique nature of oneness and unity as it reminds us that we are all first. Can you imagine that? We are all first. The number one is a reminder that we are the standard for ourselves, and we are here to help others become the same with a healthy ego. Here's the number one affirmation: I am the first layer of consciousness, where I remember I came from nothing, which is zero, and will return. I am here to learn who I am, where I am, and why I am. I am learning that I am standing, I am alone, and yet self sufficient and never lonely. I seek myself wherever I go, courageously, for my reflection as my other half. I am one. So, this is a way of you seeing that these numbers have a spiritual foundation, and then upgrows out of that spiritual foundation are all of the numbers. Here's the number two. The number two is the gift of partnership as well as the mediator and peacemaker. The nature of the two is to strive to be diplomatic when making decisions. As a seeker of peace, harmony, and love, it suggests that one has a good understanding of human nature through their feelings and keen observation of others in their life. Excuse me. The number two is polarity, duality, opposition, and the reflection of itself through parallel movement in essence, which allows one to see more than itself. That's what the nature of the two is. Now I'm just skipping about in the book. Affirmation of the two. I am the second layer of consciousness and remembrance. I have come to remind all of you that I am simply a reflection of the one. I sing songs of polarity, opposites, and duality. I can blend with you or feel different from you. I can dance with you, feel the tension between us, or simply stand still next to you. Remember, I am the reflection of the one, thus call me the two. Each one of these affirmations were well thought out. I had to meditate on them, and they came to me sentence by sentence. So I didn't have like everything laid out beforehand. Here's the number three. Three is representing expansion through the gift of creative self expression, self as one. And the gift of gab is two because it engages with two people. As one can be usually outspoken, conscientious, and principle minded, so can the number three. Self expression through creativity is a must, as their minds and bodies need activity. So you might know some number three people and see them on the go all the time. That's them. They need to engage in energy, that they lay out energy that they receive from others and how they interact with others. Through the journey of life away from the void, the number three becomes a great storyteller and sometimes may embellish their life's experiences with a few twists and turns so that their listeners remain intrigued. That's the number three. So that means someone born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th has this underlying current of creative self expression. The number three seems to court luck and good fortune. That's more like divine timing and the fortune that comes through it, and can prosper amid winning or losing all at once. That means if the three doesn't mind taking a risk and loses, they know that they gained something new about themselves in that particular scheme of life. So the three would be more or less experimental. Excuse me. Three could be more or less experimental, not being afraid to exchange ideas. The three enjoys being charismatic, comical, and creative to share its world with others as it advances through the journey of life. It is truly, this is the number three, is truly a reminder that we consciously live as a free spirit. So here's the affirmation for three. I am the third layer of consciousness and called by many conscientious, creative, and comical, and the one who seeks the spice of life itself. I move about from one experience to another, just as a bee seeks and finds the nectar from flower to flower. I come to remind you, which symbolizes one, to seek and gather your reflection, which is symbolic of the number two, and become free to live your life with sweetness, like me, the number three. Let's give you tidbit information about the number four. The four is one who does the opposite of what other folks think they are to be. So that means if you're trying to win a debate and you know the person's Aquarius or they're born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, or 31 day in a calendar month, then if you're trying to win an argument, you have to kind of phrase it to get a no. Then you can lead them back into what is correct and true. But the four is very methodical, intelligent, and a genius. The four always enjoys science and math and can be analytical when necessary. In other words, they can pinpoint conversation, pull out all the facts and all the details, and then present them to you in an orderly fashion. The four, like the sevens and the eights, are old soul vibrations, meaning they've been here before and they kind of remember that they've been here before. So they have a lot of information to draw on. The number four will express an inventive mind, having uncanny accuracy and often able to land upright after everything else has been turned upside down. Fours are connected to structure and order, either on a personal level or in a collective format. The four can be like the three, which is equally emotional, artistic, and creative. However, that's not necessarily the norm. So the fours can seem to be seeking something immediately, like simple immediate gratification, healing of their soul energy, or to create a pattern of behavior where order is in place. Fours kind of get to the root of a situation whenever they can. So here's an affirmation of the four. I am the fourth layer of consciousness, and I remember that during deep thought, I must realize it is in my best nature to be the delicate balancing point between chaos and order. That means the four personal personality can sit in a vibration and receive it because they can see both sides of the coin, both sides of the conversation. It says here, this is part of the affirmation of the four. I can stand alone like the one, find my other half to reflect upon, which is the number two. I am creative, playful, while seeking the nectar of life itself, for I am like the three. And one last statement or two. I have decided to make a strong foundation while seemingly being different. I am simplicity at its best. I am the door to a new world. So just call me the four. So the four is the nature of connecting with people, places, and things at a very deep, deep, deep level of awareness and remembrance. The deeper the four can get into a subject matter or debate or research, the deeper they can get in, the more they can pull forward within themselves. So fours are true seekers of light. The number five, the halfway point. The five does things that are both easy, difficult, quick, as well as huge. And they are lovers of speed. They have to do everything quickly. Probably did their schoolwork faster than anybody in the classroom or amongst siblings and relatives. They have a keen eye of awareness. They're always acting younger than their age and youthful in appearance. Someone born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd, or under the sign of Gemini or Virgo, both ruled by Mercury, represented by the number five. So they can have this heartfelt experience. Sometimes, like the three, the five is a bundle of nerves and does a great deal of thinking about the overall puzzle piece to see to the end. That's important for number five. They're also highly restless. They have a fairly good memory. See a face, know it. See the way a person walks, knows who that person is. Those who have the base number five are prone to change their mind, often due to overanalyzing different concepts. Communication is key, and one can be quite accurate or great with words, like the number three. Five loves to travel, might go to Barbados, might go to Indonesia, might go to Japan or China. Five is a traveler. This number is like the three, will share information. Five is like three, share information. The number uh, information that they can share, known facts and figures like a four and a five. But the most important part is number five will experience and enjoy formal and informal educational experiences. Five usually gets along with everybody well. So here's the affirmation for the number five. I am the fifth layer of consciousness who reminds you to position yourself to adapt to different conditions, make the necessary adjustments, and be prepared to share your truths about journey called life. Now that I know that it is like to be the number one, five is likely to be the number one with standards. Will reflect on those standards like the number two, will then find ways to creatively express those ideas in a carefree mindset. Four, this is another extension of five, to create from a sturdy foundation, always with simplicity. It is time to come alive, as I am always renamed the five. So, pretty powerful, huh? You're always seeking to know what you need to know. Here is the number six, the number that symbolizes great morals and ethics. This is the six. It is a number of principles that are taught in each household. The person has a beautiful personality, loving nature, which can be seen in their attire. It means they take pride in how they dress. They take pride in their homes, what they look like. So when they have guests come over, they want that guest to feel a great deal of comfort and be able to relax. Six love home life and their family. Their only downside is that it expresses a person who has a deep desire to control others, sometimes overwhelmingly, even though they mean well. That's also saying, like, sometimes the number six looks for attention, and the number six seeking attention sometimes could walk into receiving negative attention. So it has to be careful. The six must be able to heal itself, but usually relies on other people to heal them. So if you have a life path six, or birthday number six, or your entire name adds to a six, or your first name adds to a six, you're drawn to these areas. You're very much a person of music and art, museums. You know, you can delve into the past in terms of history, but you're always seeking the pure gem to bring forward. The number five is attractive in dress as well. They take pride in that. They are the lovers of culture, wide variety of cuisines, food, art, music, and anything that breeds beauty, harmony, luxury, and peace. Six sometimes can become very parental or overly protective, and sometimes get caught up in petty arguments. Six must respect the spaces that others live in. Sometimes we have people who like your home, but they want to change your home to suit their needs. You got to watch that. That's a person that can be very controlling. The affirmation of the six: I am the sixth layer of consciousness and remind you to love yourself first. Be grateful for who you are and what you have. This is the six. Always respect another person's boundaries. I have come from zero with infinite treasures of being just, balance, harmony, and love. Remember, we are all one family. This is the nature of the six. We're all one family. That each one of us is the sweetness of life itself. I am called the six. So let me put this down for a moment. Anybody has any questions, any comments? I want to go back here and thank King Lemuel Productions 9928, Rose Jefferson 1069, Mike Ray 8886. And that's it. But thank you for joining me. I know there's often people hidden in the chat, but they're listening. Again, I would like to say up front, and this is for people who like to troll myself and others, do not use my comment section to to advertise your business. Don't do that. Don't try to steal customers and move them to their place because you're not successful in peeling away your shadow self. So often, what happens is like last week, I went through my YouTube channel and I found someone advertising. So I had to delete their message and eventually deleted them out of the chat. I also had a person in there that was referring to my work as satanistic. So I had to find that person and delete their message, then delete them. Now, that person has been on YouTube since 2006 or 2016, but they're being childish, they're acting out, they're trying to override me with their things and understanding what metaphysics or spirituality is. So let's go to the number seven. The seven, like the four and the eight, is the trilogy of the old soul. Four, seven, and eight are the trilogy of the old soul. Seven is mystical, magical, and philosophical by nature. It is the one person who analyzes everything and backs it up with not just facts or research, but first and foremost with their own psychic side, deep rooted feelings, intuitive traits. This is all about the number seven. So I'm going to skip down a little bit. The seven sometimes enjoys books and movies that have a scientific and fantasy bent to them, but still carries a theme that speaks to all people. Sevens can attract martyrdom. They're not trying to be the martyr, but other people around them who have a connection are trying to be the martyr. Sevens must protect their emotions, their mental body, their physical body, and their emotional body, and their ethereal body, and avoid being drawn into debates with other people. Their other world is their other home. So sevens can be attracted to galactic information, UFO sightings and experiences, and books and research. The seven enjoys sometimes having a weird sense of humor and understanding energy on a deeper level than most. So sevens are known to understand people right away when they meet them. Seven remains to be sober with truth in the face of illusions. Sometimes seven number internalizes their thoughts and feelings as a loner because they don't trust the people who they would like to share their information with. So that's important. Seven will understand situations learned from it and through it and keep raising their personal vibration to transcend lower vibrations. The seven goes within and retreats. And what happens? They create self healing or are with others that can help them heal. So they'll take a moment of self study and commune deeply with the divine presence found within themselves. The affirmation of the number seven: I am the seventh layer of consciousness and true remembrance. I am you, and we are one. We reflect all to become one again. I am creative. This is the seven. I am creative, free spirited, youthful, and simple. I am eccentric, sage like, and magical like you. I love life here and yet dwell in the remembrance of the galaxies shining brightly above our heads. I am a rainbow guiding you through the corridors of infinity beyond heavens, for I am a seven. So here's number eight, and after this, we'll have nine. Eight is connected to the trilogy of old soul numbers, fours, sevens, and eights. This number is powerful and is an authority figure and one who sees the larger picture in any issues set before them. Usually, eights have great organizational skills. I just had one of my spiritual daughters visiting from Texas, and she's a number 26. So that means she seeks joy through relationships and family. You know, family connection is very strong, and 2 plus 6 is 8, but it's a 26. So 20 means she's here to transform all of her relationships, raise them to the next level. That's the nature of a 26. Usually, they're very good with attaining finances and maintaining. They have great organizational skills. They manage time, energy, and money very well. Eights have a knack for owning their own business, and like the three, can run anywhere from a small corporation to a large corporation. Eights are very unique people, very powerful. Eights are the kind of people who are seeking contractual arrangements that can bring forth lots of abundance and prosperity. They are the caretakers and the stewards of the earth. These are eights, known to preserve all that is historical and traditional. These things are important. Eights like to do the research. They're researchers. And they maintain the investments along the lines of finances, financial values, traditions like celebrations, the ability to govern one's own affairs while becoming experts in their chosen fields, such as law, the arts, and business, just to name a few. One of the things that eight vibrations have to do is avoid bragging, preaching, and being bossy. Here's the affirmation for the number eight: I am the eighth layer of consciousness. As I have stated, all my reasons for being here, like you, this is the number eight, and endeavor to remind you that I reside from the infinite well of Mother's matrix called the womb. I am often called the lumisket, that's the sign of infinity, where you see it horizontally. I am like two eyes gazing upon you in two circles tangent to each other that will sometimes overlap just enough to create a space for a single eye. That's when it goes like this and the two lines cross. That's the single eye. That's this, the pineal. I personify a coined phrase. This is me. As above, so below, and can walk upon the earthly plane with an even gait. I am the number seven. And our last number, there for all of you hanging out. The nine is the natural warrior, and yet a good humanitarian, for it symbolizes all other numbers from 1 to 8. The nine person stands their ground, so do not pick on them, and make sure you have your points in order, as they will take on your challenge with facts. This person could be a very quite competitive person and very smart as they think of life like it is, being like a game of chess. Since it represents all other numbers 1 to 8, it tends to be a leader, well organized, enthusiastic about life, and how to live it thoroughly. The nine personality portrays the ambassador and the teacher's teacher, but is the warrior as well. Reminds us, or nine remembers, how to return to being a student to gain power, force, and resilience. It moves out of stagnation toward a place where it can experience what is known as living one's life with infinite measures. Go down a little further. The nine will continue to observe you and anything in its environment. It may give you free reign, but then yank it away. This nine is a controller. The nine must show humility and live the principles of humility as well. Then the nine can help others see change happen with ease around them and within their circles. The number nine person does not worry to become the chess master in life, but plays the game of life well enough to share the platform with others. So here's the affirmation of the nine. I am the ninth layer of consciousness and remembrance. I have shared with you all my aspects from 1 to 8, including my highs and lows. I reached for the impossible so that I could attain all that is possible. I am called nine. So I want to make sure I got that information out. Yes, it's a continuous flow. 7-Eleven also nine. Mike Ray 8886 listening to you as a seven. Yeah, I'm a number seven too. I'm a 16-7. So I'm going to read from one more book, and then I'm going to give you a guided meditation. I'm feeling one coming down. Original guided meditation. I'm going to read something shortly from this book. This is book number 7, Radiant Heart, 7 Amazing Pathways to Connect, Activate, and Communicate with Your Higher Self. That's my name, Francis E. Revels-Bey. Now, this book and the numerology book on Amazon for $25. But I want to read something that will be very helpful for you. I should ask, how's everyone doing this evening? You have any relatives coming in town? Oh, yeah. Well, King Lemuel Productions. Your time is 1:33 a.m. Eastern. For me over here, it is 11:33 Mountain Time. As I say, I'm going to try to come on more often, sharing all these teachings that I have to give to the world. There you go, 134, which is an 8. Yeah, man. So let's see what we have here. I should read something on point first. So far, we talked a little bit, or I shared with you a little bit about selenite and a little bit from my numerology book, and now from my Radiant Heart book. One of the things I want to state that when we're all on a path, metaphysically and spiritually speaking, so we find ourselves traveling this journey of light by ourselves, but not really. You have those ancestors you got along with from lifetime to lifetime traveling with you. You have your own higher self. You have your other guardian angels, vibrations that are with you at the same time. And you can invoke their presence at the same time so that you're not alone. As soon as I can find a little passage, I'm just going to read a part of the passage because I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. This is chapter 17. You are a living prayer. In my book is page 139. Prayer is a beautiful instrument when you realize what it is really for, because it is not what you might have been taught. Many of us have experienced the use of prayers by attending places for traditional religious worship, various religious circles, and from alternative traditions. We have been taught to pray to God, saints, prophets, angels for centuries. Of course, there are many traditions through ancient and current tribes who look to spirit embedded in Mother Nature. For the most part, our ancestors were taught to pray to a God outside of ourselves, while in the past 136 years, prayers have been refashioned into what is now called affirmative prayers by the many founders of New Thought movement. Their premise is that when we pray, we are directing our intentional prayer to the God within, and that we are all an integral part of the same, which is truly universal by nature. It is a matter of preference for anyone who decides to use prayer in their life or not. My immediate ancestors were from families that prayed incessantly in the era of the time they lived in. Those prayed around the clock were doing so as they lived through two world wars, World War One and World War Two, and even the Vietnam War. They lived through those times where numerous race riots were consuming America, and they did this to help keep their families safe. Many of us use prayer in a metaphysical way, as it is our understanding that we have always been in consciousness, the understanding of the I am presence, which is the universal and personal knowing that we are the expression of God and God lives in us. So I've always known that our ancestors were also praying for us. We have ancestors from the other side of the veil praying for us, and in all kind of systems. If one sees themselves as a shaman or metaphysician, then that person will comprehend that this is a way of life and not some haphazard journey. So other people who don't know anything about what you're doing will think your life is totally run by default. It's haphazard, but it's not. It has a distinctive order. One is not doing it to be a braggart. You really and truly must work on your personal ego and not allow it to override your true self. The use of prayer helps direct and redirect one's life, and through prayer can call something into effect. Whenever we are praying, we're calling something into effect. When we're just side by side in life, we are feeling the presence of others around us, beyond the veil and on this side of the veil at the same time. Prayer is a tool to help transform one's own life and ask for assistance and direction, as well as ask for a form of spiritual help. During the time of ancient civilizations, tribes have asked for guidance and invoked certain spirits and deities for protective help, better health, prosperity, and longevity. The use of prayer will definitely strengthen your character and draw your divine nature firmly into place. This is important. I'm going to go to the bottom, page 141. The use of prayer becomes a service to and for humanity as people are globally seated in prayer for world peace. Of course, you select the time to conduct your own prayer service in solo or group format. One of the best times to do prayer work is between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. One of the best times to do your prayer work, your meditation work, and any other kind of spiritual and metaphysical things that you're trying to utilize to enhance yourself. One of the best times is from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Most people in their deepest hours of sleep, and that's why those times have been selected. So, each one of us is the embodiment. I'm skipping around now. Each one of us is the embodiment of our ancestors' greatest prayers. Deep within us are these accumulative, intentional prayers that have given us strength to survive hardships and thrive successfully in our own lives. Many of us have lived past the age when our parents transitioned, and that is an example of our successes. That we were backed by seed thoughts called prayers by our parents, grandparents, and many distant ancestors within our own family lineage. May you receive this revelation with an open mind. You are a living prayer. So, before I close out, I'm going to give you a guided journey. We'll take it together. If you'd like to take this journey with me and can, I want you to do several deep breaths in through the nose and out of the mouth, letting your shoulders relax, your neck muscles, and the muscle in your face. Just relax. Starting now. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You just keep breathing and allowing yourself to relax. Check it on your shoulders, your upper back, middle back, lower back, down into your pelvis. Scan your body. Just relax. Breathe deeply and evenly. Just relax. Go deeper. as if you're envisioning yourself going down an escalator. And as you do this, I want you to feel quite centered. Place your awareness halfway between the upper part and the lower part of your breastbone, the sternum. Right behind there in the center is your heart. And your heart is balancing the lungs, the movement of lungs, taking in air. I want you to don't think about anything. Don't think about yesterday, a few weeks ago. Don't think about tomorrow. Just think about this moment. Just relax. Open up your mind and open up your heart and envision a doorway that you can slide open or open outward or open inward. But you can look out into this open field, heavily populated with very colorful plants and flowers and shrubs. Keep that image in your mind. Know that you're working through harmony and peace and happiness. Just relax. Place your awareness around your eyes. In fact, place your fingers there and gently massage around your eyes. You get into the corners, rub outward. You get into the center, rub across the bridge of the nose. But just relax. Take a big deep breath now. And imagine that you're looking up through the ceiling and can see the midnight sky. You feel a sense of oneness, a sense where you matter, because all that matters is yourself. Begin to widen your vision around yourself here. You can see vast horizons and never see the end. Pyramids all over, different sizes, made out of different material, and some are humongous and some are tiny, like an inch from the vortex to the base. But it's your cluster, your bundles of pyramid energy. Just relax. Let your mind go. And as you go, I want you to count backwards. In fact, I'll count backwards so that you feel that you're going deeper, starting with 10, 9. I'm slowing it down now. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to find yourself in the deepest part of yourself. I'm going to repeat that. You're going to find yourself in the deepest part of yourself. Keep breathing deeply and evenly. Know that with each cycle of breath, your mind is clearing, your eyes are clearing, your throat is clearing. You feel a sense of greater oneness within yourself, safe, sound, and clear. Just continue to relax. Now, what I want you to do is think or feel the presence of a symbol, any symbol. As you go deeper into yourself, I want you to say these words: I am whole. I am complete, surrounded by divine grace. You are whole, whole. You are complete. You are surrounded by divine grace. Hold that for a moment. You are surrounded by divine grace. Now I'm going to remain quiet. I just want you to relax and see what symbol comes up to you. That symbol is connected to your higher self for this particular journey. Keep breathing. Keep relaxing. Just relax. And know that you're coming into a state of absolute peace, harmony, and happiness just for yourself. This place that you can see within you has many blessings and treasures for you. As you relax, you're allowing yourself to get into that still point within you. It's in your heart. That still point lives throughout your body, energizing every part of your body. Just relax. I want you to begin to embrace yourself as beauty and harmony and happiness. Know that you're always in true alignment with your higher self. Just keep focusing. I am my higher self right now. I want you to feel an overwhelming sense of peace that you're cared for and loved. So if an image comes up when you're a baby, just let it be. But see yourself in a state of bliss. Know that you're growing in oneness with yourself. And as we begin to count backwards, 10, 9, 8, prepare yourself to relax. 7, 6, 5. Feeling that you will always be well. No matter where you are at in life, you will always be well. Just relax. Place your hands on the center of your sternum and see the feeling, a rippling water like feeling of pure hearts and innocence flowing to, through, and from you. Just relax. And now that you're in the sea of oneness with yourself, smile gently into your heart. That technique comes from Grandmaster Montauk Chia, smiling in to your heart, waiting for your heart to send forth light within you, which acknowledges your divinity. Learning how to live your life on purpose with all of your guides in your life, around your life. See light pouring down all over you now, soothing to the touch. This light is embedded with divine codes that will begin to unlock themselves, and you will begin to remember and understand them as well. When you're ready, open your eyes. Feel and see the presence of yourself in a state of peaceful awareness and peaceful remembrance. And know that you are well. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being present. You can go back and see this later, as this was a live random podcast. Thank you for being here and being supportive. Enjoy the rest of your sleep time, your morning time. Enjoy being with your family members wherever you are in the world. Thank you for being supportive and appreciative. You can always email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. Take good care of yourselves. Good night. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. I look forward to doing another one of these as soon as possible. Take care now, everybody, and thanks again.